Here we go. Maybe. Okay. Hello? Are we on the internet? All right. Good evening, guys. Hope you had a good weekend so far. So, get into this tonight. As a recap, you guys had finished exploring the strange asteroid as requested by Narama, and you came across after you came across some interesting architecture and objects and whatnot there, and on your way out, you realized and learned that somebody else had came aboard the asteroid as well, followed you, and after encounter within the caverns, back to the hangar, if you want to call it that, you guys were able to escape barely and fly back, report your findings to Narama, and then head back on your way to your respective places, Fudicularin, Generis, and whatnot. And then you had a week of downtime to do, whatever. Couple of you did some research on some of the things that you found in the asteroid, and some research or espionage of some of the people that you ran into on the asteroid as well. And at the end of the week, as you all were aware of, Rena had reached out and said, "Hey, I'm ready for this cargo run for you guys to do this job to basically help make up for some of the costs and the damages and whatnot that were inflicted on the loner starship. Mostly out of your control, but still, this was the way that she felt would kind of make things even." So that's where we pick up tonight, and we're gonna kind of test through this smuggling group downtime.
Quick
See
question.
how that works. Yeah.
So with the biochemist kit, I can buy 500 credits worth of supplies at a time to make stuff with it. Would I'm forgetting the name of the place around Almus. Would that city have had it?
Gadron.
Is that the one
Oh,
that's
sorry.
around
No, Elmas
Almus?
is Berard, I think it's called.
Oh, okay. Would that have had those kinds of supplies, or is that too advanced of a
No, I would say
material?
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
cause yeah, on Ferrard, basically the academy is almost like the bulk. If you think of like,
Mhm.
I mean, I guess there's a decent city there, but you think of a university town,
Right.
college town. Yeah,
Oh
college
yeah.
is like the town, and then um, you know, you got a little bit
Everything else
around it.
built around it. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I didn't expect, especially with the academy there. That's something that they would absolutely have a resource themselves, probably.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, so even in the description there, it talks about toxic amounts of elements in the atmosphere of Alma, so they probably know their biochem.
Yeah, yep,
You gotta
absolutely.
survive.
This is about the only use of my actual biochem degree that I've gotten. So, hey.
Alrighty.
Do you get advantages on your biochem rolls for the degree?
Probably not for having it for more than 10 years and not using it. No. Forgot everything I learned.
That's you should bring some real life things. Like I get
Just the
advantage on
language, at
technology
least.
rolls for my degree. You get some biochem.
All
Okay.
right. So
I
one thing I thought of was so for the starship smuggling, and this is this isn't directly going to affect the adventure here, but I just thought it helps us transition into it, and I thought it'd be a fun way to test this out. Um, One change, obviously, as I originally wrote this for party of 5. Nev Campbell and her friends generally is the party size that I run with. So, um, but I don't think that changes things too much. The one change is as it's you have to have proficiency, and then you can only attempt one phase. So when you have 5 people in 3 phases, that works out, because then that's 2 people can help out in 2 of the phases. So what I think I'm going to do is change that to you can only like star or focus, you know, can only be the main person doing the attempt in a phase, and then you can assist in one other as well. So you'll have you can do a main attempt and then an assist. I think that will work out as well. So I think you still would have to have the proficiencies there. I guess it would probably initially how I would run that. So, but yeah. So if you guys have that pulled up, we can run through this. This is we're running this as an easy level difficulty. So you guys head off. I guess we can kind of play this out as well a little bit. You guys get the call from Rena, and she says, "Hey, this job is ready. You'll be running with the spry hunter again, as you guys seem to know that a little bit. Just try and take care of it a little better this time around." And she gives you the information on the run. You're actually delivering some cargo to out to I guess really I think out towards Almas. There is I think it's the moon of Almas. I forget the name of that. Someone has that pulled up. This moon is
Daruma?
Daruma, yes. Yep. All right. So, delivery out there. Daruma is a resort moon that was kind of cultivated. But anyway, so you have to fly out past the asteroid belt, and that is part of your cargo run for this. So you guys get the job, and she says, it's simple as that. Take the cargo out there, drop it off, and head back. If there's anything else you guys want to discuss or whatnot before you guys head out, do that.
Good to see you, gents. If I may make a suggestion, I'm not particularly suited to the, shall we call it, the smuggling enterprise. Let's not mince words. But I am a decent investigator. So if we need help with setting something up, that's probably my strong suit. Otherwise, I can assist somebody who knows what they're doing.
Don't worry, kid. We'll show you the ropes. You'll be a pro smuggler in no time. You stick around with me and Lan.
Sounds like a plan.
Rule number 1, just don't ask what's in the boxes.
I have the force. I already know what's in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
You might need to confirm that rule with Dak as well, because I think he struggles with that.
Well, hey, when it's not my cargo, I'll see what's in the box. When I'm getting paid to deliver, that's a whole different thing.
All right, so you guys saddle up into the spry hunter. Again, another slight punch to the gut for Dak as he boards a ship so similar to one he's known before, and load that baby up, fire it up, and head off. So, Mr. Pilot, Dak, I believe you're taking that role. I'm gonna start us off with a piloting check.
All right, here we go. Hope I didn't drink too much on my downtime.
All right, very nice. So, yeah, you get out with no trouble. You are on course very well. You get out there and work on your travel to Almas to drop off this cargo. So, as an aside, so you guys have obviously secured the job, but we're still going to roll through each parts of this smuggling event here. So, phase 1 for the smuggling downtime is securing the job. You have options to either do an investigation or persuasion check here to secure the job. So who wants to handle that?
I think Valeno can handle the investigation.
Okay.
Not the
And
only thing he's proficient in, so
yeah,
he wants to be helpful.
and somebody can help if they want. Does any? Let me check up my thing. Does anyone else proficient in investigation?
I
No.
believe I am.
Oh,
Yes. Expertise, actually.
Yeah, expertise.
All
So
right.
you got the job.
So, Valen, so go ahead and give me an investigation check at advantage with Krellin's help. All right. So I start off a little rough.
Just get nervous doing these crimes.
Yeah,
try
you
not
just
to look in the boxes, guys. Really trying, but I can hear it rattling around.
perhaps maybe the recent events of your last foray have gotten to you, and you know, you're just a little shaky as you are looking for this job. But anyway, so move to phase 2. This is the acquiring cargo part where you would pick something up, but this would be like a drop off. This case, we have options for athletics, sleight of hand, survival, or deception. Who would like to go for that?
I'd like to go for survival.
Plan survival. Okay. It does not look like anyone else could help you on that. And try something else that someone can help with.
So I've got charisma, or the
Deception?
the deception. I can help with that if somebody can do it
Nope.
that way.
No double up there. And what
Guess
else we
What
got?
about
Athletics,
sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand's probably a good one. Nope, only one of you with that. I mean, on the bright side, you guys are real.
well-rounded.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's see. Athletics, I doubt. Nobody has athletics, so.
Strength in 5e? Screw that.
Yeah, I'm making a note for future reference. All right. So, Lan, I guess you're on your own for, I think you said survival, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Let her rip. Survival check. Hey!
Nice.
Dirty 20. Very good. So you get +3 bonus there. All right. And finally, your delivery phase. So you get to Elmas and you begin hauling this stuff off. So we have a piloting check, a stealth check, survival check for this. So I think only one of you with piloting. Nope, you got a couple pilots, so you could do that. Or
Or stealth. I've got
stealth. You got some
I'll do
stealth as well.
I'll helm the last roll, I suppose.
Yeah, yep. And then you can do that at advantage because Dak also has that, so he can assist. So
Oh,
stealth
wonderful.
at advantage. Very nice.
There we go.
25. So that's a +4. So we got 7 there. All right. So if we're taking it as is, 7 points. It's a tier 1 ship, gets you up to 8 points. And then I'll just say you had an extra bonus for a mod, so you got 9 points. So unfortunately, we'd be shy on the minimum bonus. You need a +13 to get the bonus here for that. So that initial phase 1 was kind of rough because you didn't get anything. But
Oh, bummer.
you still have that +9 to your final results roll to see how this turns out. So who would like to roll the D100? It's feeling lucky.
Dax the smuggler here, right?
Let's put the pressure on me,
Yeah,
then.
kind of.
Yeah, so it's all on you.
Yep.
D100
all
plus
the
9,
blame and all the
Dak.
glory.
Plus
That's what
9.
happens when you're the captain.
Yeah.
All right, that's not too bad. So, per the results here.
Oh.
So you earn, so if you're doing this as downtime, you guys would have earned 30% of the commission of this job. So 30% of the 5,000 math is what that would have brought in. And then, Valen, give me just a straight D20, please.
Okay.
Lan, give me a straight D20. And Krellin, give me a straight D20, please. Ooh, wow. Okay. So Valen was closest to having a complication. The rest of you guys are fine. So good there. No complications, luckily. And yeah, that completes the job. So you guys would come back and
Nice.
Oh, it's a D20 in the complications?
5% chance for easy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just on a 1 I would have called it. Yeah, because it changes. So if you go up to a medium one, it's a 10% chance, and then a hard whatever activity would be 25% chance. So pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, I know in the past I've done D10s for it, so that must be the 10%. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yep, for other things. So you guys would have brought in 1,500, as a group. For 4 people, I guess, $400 almost on a week of downtime is not horrible. So, yeah, maybe something, I think not too bad. I think just some initial bad rolls, but I have to maybe look at the numbers and tweak them a little bit. But, all right, cool. So, you guys can, you can take that 375 and add that to your bank accounts. Say that that's a little bit of a tip that you earn for this job.
Oh, is that each? I thought that
Yep.
was total.
375 each. You guys had earned 1,500 credits total, and then split between you guys. So.
All right.
All right, and then we begin your travels back to Kularan to return to Arena, and just pass along. That you've made this delivery so that she can collect on the delivery from the client. It's a long trip back. The run wasn't too complicated, but since it did take you past the asteroid belt, it had some difficulties both ways at those points. The prospectors and explorers that you were a part of previously, they're still darting in and out of the asteroid clusters, and they certainly don't make things any easier. The best path through has been to just scan ahead for traffic and hit the least overrun spots, and in a path through the field. This worked pretty well on your way out to drop off the delivery, and things look pretty good coming back so far. But as you get through this asteroid field and through this empty spot, about halfway, you find yourselves in a nearly abandoned section of rocks. There's nothing else around you, no other ships and whatnot for the most part. Just you're just surrounded by these asteroids, and there's as you do a scan and whatnot, there's no signals ahead, and it seems that everything's in the clear. You can move forward, and it shouldn't have any complications or collisions.
All right, we heading back to Rena's?
I guess it's a good question. Do we need was that part of the job, I guess, was to go back and to Rena, or
Yeah, bring your ship back.
oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if she told us like, hey, go ahead and keep using it for a while.
Yeah, we're just gonna go for a joyride in the Spry Hunter for a bit.
All right. So yeah, no, I guess we've made our delivery on the moon there of Almas, so we can head back to Rena's.
All right. So you begin continuing on, and you're getting through this kind of void, for lack of a better term, of other starships and things in this area of the asteroids, and as you're going through, your ship's sensors pick up metallic alloys and some ships signatures of other ships nearby. In moments after your ship picks this up on its signals, everything goes dead. The lights across your ship go out. Every instrument panel seems to fail. Engines shut down. Emergency thrusters fire to slow you down before they eventually fail as well. After a moment's powerless drifting, you come slowly to a stop, just in the emptiness of space here, surrounded by these asteroids. You sit essentially motionless in these black depths of the asteroid belt.
Well, we better go check and see if we've got any sort of life support, right? This can't be good.
Lan immediately takes his respirator out and puts it on.
Okay.
I want to go actually. Phelan wants to go actually check. See if the life support's still functioning.
Okay.
Probably already knows the outcome, but need to make sure.
So as you're about to get up and go check this out, something catches your guys' eye first before you begin your investigations here. There's another ship that just comes into view, and it's moving nearly on the same course that you guys were, and it surges past you, and you see that its engines as well die in a plume of fading blue light, and this one is traveling much faster than you guys were. This transport then careens into the darkness, and it disappears like in front of you. So you're seeing the ship kind of go past you, and then all of a sudden it just disappears out of view. And then almost immediately it reappears, as if it went through something. And it's just surrounded, silhouetted in a billowing cloud of fire and shattered steel. Unable to turn to stop, the ship has now slammed into an asteroid and explodes. The impact of its destruction sends the looming asteroid stone, bumps it enough into another direction before that asteroid comes towards your way. The fire from this ship fades almost instantly, leaving only the glimmering fragments of glass and metal to bear silent witness of this ship's passing. All right, so now, Valen, you can get up and go check things out if you want. So you get up and go check the systems of the starship. Give me an... you can give me an investigation check. Right. So... And this is part of that, is that other than, a faint glow from the surrounding stars, I mean, you can see the stars, but, the light doesn't travel, or it doesn't illuminate stuff that much. I mean, it's basically darkness. So you do rush back to, slowly make your way through the darkness of the ship and be investigating what you can. You said you're specifically after the life support systems?
Yeah, that was the first.
So you go and check that out, eventually getting there, and it takes you a bit to kind of analyze the situation and whatnot, but as you do, you see that it's on reserve, and it's operating on the bare minimum of basically a secondary power cell, and you calculate about 10 hours of support remaining.
Okay. I'm gonna rush back and tell Dak. I'm assuming he's in the pilot seat. Got him out.
Yeah, anyone else doing anything now, or are you guys still kind of just hanging out for the...
Lan wants to check the guns, make sure we can defend ourselves.
Okay. So yeah, as you kind of tap into things, you find that the guns are offline. There's not power running to them. The systems just are not seeming to, function.
Not good.
Got any ideas, Dak?
Are there any? I guess one thing I would ask is, I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Do any other electronic devices besides the ship function, or is everything completely out? So, like for example, Land's holo recorder or a data pad, like all electronic devices just kaput.
So give me an you got tech deck?
Ooh.
No. So just give me an investigation check. Nice. All right. So, this kind of leans into your piloting, I guess. So, this would help there is just knowing, to look at the systems and check everything out. And as you do, you see like basically everything looks like it's failed. Power is basically down. As you check some of the systems, that you can kind of gather, investing some things that have a sort of a manual gauge on them, I guess, if there's even such thing. But that you see that the engines aren't getting any power, that the fuel isn't pumping, whatnot, and you think that there's the tiniest little bit maybe in reserves of the ship that might be able to be utilized. But it doesn't really feed through any of the main systems. You also, though, you just kind of happen as you have this hunch of like, what all did this affect? You reach to your pistol and look at that thing, and the power cell has almost completely depleted. And so something, whatever happened, has just kind of really sucked the life out of you guys' ship.
Okay. Yeah, let's relay that to the rest of the group that looks like everything that runs on power has been completely drained, even the power cells for our blasters.
Balin's gonna pull out his Shoto and go out where there's room and test it just to confirm, see if it'll work.
It does. It sputters a little bit at first, but not too bad. It does. It
Like
definitely
it's
ignites. Yep. Yeah, it is holding.
It's like, well, my saber still works. I don't know
Like
for how long, but
Those run off the force, right? Not a power cell like a good
Pokey
trusty
religions
blaster.
and
well,
ancient.
it's got a energy cell of some kind. Gotta have it. Gotta have power from somewhere. But that's true.
I
It's
don't know
not
how all
just
this works.
energy.
This is why I use slugs.
Me as well, as I wave around my little pea shooter that shoots tiny bullets. Can't rely on technology.
So I don't have a power for it, but Balin wants to try to use the force to like sense in that general direction of where that ship seemed to lose its power and continue on, and then where it disappeared
Mm-hmm.
and then reappeared. See if he can focus and sense something
Mm-hmm.
in that general location.
Yeah. So you kind of head back to the cockpit and look out, and as you begin focusing, even before you look to the force to try and get something, you do see that other vessels are trapped with you in this black web or mess, whatever it is, here in space. And past these other ships, you do see a single asteroid that looms against the starred background of the night. It's very dark, basalt or black shale, and seems to lie in the center of the sea of powerless ships. There's just ships that have all of a sudden showed up all over the place. But even more unusual as you kind of just drift here in space is that you see the star field behind the asteroid darken and actually wink out completely. It seems that the asteroid is surrounded by some sort of black aura, a shroud of deep shadows. As you now, visually seeing that and then reaching out a little bit to the force, you do pick up a little bit of something that feels a little dark. There is a little bit of something out there.
And it's on the asteroid itself.
In that
rock
direction, yeah. Yep.
direction. All right. Am I the only one that senses that or sees it?
Everyone would see this as long as they're kind of in the cockpit. They would be able to see it. You're the one that would have this, a little more of a sense of it.
Gonna tap Dak on the shoulder and just point right at it. There. We need to go there.
Or you doors over there if you want to get out and walk, I guess. But unless you can get powder to these engines, I think we're not going anywhere.
Well, okay, so quick question. How much of physics would Valen actually know?
Do
The
some
force is not
pushing
just
on
an
things
energy
and,
field, it's also mass times acceleration. Does he know that?
I
And then
would think so. I guess what are you going for?
an object in motion stays in motion until an a equal or opposite force acts on it. So
Right.
if we can figure out a way to propel ourselves along that way, it might be slow going, but we can at least move and get there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't speak as to what will happen when we're there, but
Yeah. Basically, Valen's gonna get out and push.
It's gonna push the
force
ship.
push.
Spend the
Okay,
next
I'm
10 hours.
trying to think of a way he could use the force to propel it along without destroying the ship.
Right.
Um,
And I guess just to clarify, you want us to go towards where the ship disappeared and was destroyed, or towards something else?
there's that dark rock over there. Do you see it? Way out there. It's in the middle of all those dead drifting ships.
Mm. Okay.
Gotta
That's-
be something related to that, and there's nowhere else out here. So I can't imagine. And I think our chances are probably best if we head out there.
As you guys are discussing this, Valen, as you're continuing to point this out and try and give your thoughts on the situation, you see a ship that's closer to the asteroid, a lot closer than yours at least. All of a sudden, it flares to life. You see lights flicker on along its hull and whatnot, and its engines ignite, and it hurtles forward in a desperate attempt to escape. But a second later, everything fails, and the ship goes dead, but now still moving swiftly from that burst from the engines. Its current trajectory sends itself shearing into a second vessel, and they both erupt and are torn apart by tremendous fuel explosions. As both of them burn, the field around you is lit momentarily, and you see the shadowed forms of the other ships around you. The only thing that isn't illuminated is that asteroid. It seems to drink in the light, growing even darker as the blaze dwindles and dies.
So this was as it got away from this dark asteroid. It seemed to get its power back. Did I hear that right?
No, it just it seemed that something. You're not necessarily that it went away from the asteroid. It just happened to get some power back, whatnot. So
Okay.
But
yeah.
Well,
it quickly lost its power. So if we get our power back, let's not do that.
patience then. It is a virtue.
Yeah, you said we have what 10 hours of life support left.
That's what I estimate. Yeah, 10 hours. Still a decent amount of time, but if we're stuck here, I can imagine better ways to go. That's for sure.
Dak, give me a piloting check, please.
I mean,
Right.
to be fair, I think me and Lan, our guns still work. We could make it a lot less painful if it comes to that.
I'm not gonna die in the Spry Hunter. I don't know about y'all.
So, as you're having discussions and whatnot, Dak, something kind of hits you, and you just your sense aboard a starship and whatnot, and Valen's trying to figure out a way to put you guys in motion, and then it strikes you that we are in motion. Your ship is moving, and something is actually slowly drawing the ship towards that asteroid. You have no idea what,
Okay.
but you can feel it, sense that that motion. So, and if you call that out, the rest of you would see that you are moving as well. So,
well, whether we wanted to or not, it looks like we're headed towards that asteroid after all.
Wonderful, just like last week.
Sensed a dark presence out there. I need to get ready. Cast battle precog.
Crowlin's just like internally kind of confused. He's like, well, obviously it's space. It's pitch black.
Not
Everything's
that kind
dark
of dark. Capital D.
Well, I mean,
Land just starts gearing up. He just loads his rifle, holsters it, gets all his stuff together.
I guess I don't. Let's say if we did get power back, like when your house power goes off and it comes back on, everything that was all the light switches that were flipped to the on position are already on. It wakes you in the middle of the night and you're like, ah. So if it says for some reason we did briefly get power back, are engines going to automatically kick in, or I have like a switch to turn those off, or is it like a radio where you have to turn it back on?
I would say, I'm not entirely sure how that would work. I would say it seemed like from a safety sense that wouldn't happen. I guess maybe that you would have to re-engage it.
Okay,
but you never know. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Long story short, since Dak would know the ship, if there is somebody to turn off, so the
yeah, you can go through and make sure that it's turned off so that you can, right? That's what you're after.
Yeah, I just don't want to briefly get power and shoot off into an asteroid.
Okay. Yep. So you go through and check things over and make sure that if power does come back on, that you're able to control that, not the ship.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
After seeing what happened to those other guys, I don't want that to happen to
exactly. Us. Yeah. So as you guys all, sense a little bit of movement towards this thing and begin kind of bracing yourselves for, what might happen, what not. All of a sudden, something just hits all of you, just like a wave. The ship, already dark, other than dim starlight outside, everything is pitch black, solid black. The bridge and cockpit first, and then the hull from stern, and finally the engines, the back, are plunged into absolute darkness. A few moments later, the shadow fades. It leaves as it arrives from one end of the ship to the other, and nothing lingers behind except a faint chill and patterns of frost on the windows and instrument readouts. You see all over the place. Even the sternest, most literal-minded among you cannot shake the feeling that some presence or awareness just passed over your vessel like footsteps over a grave. Valen. Scroll here and get to... So, as this darkness, solid darkness, passes over the ship, you experience something a little bit different and additional than your counterparts. It begins with darkness. Your perceptions fade to black, and every sound dims to nothing. The rasp of your own breathing, once thunderous in the empty halls of your powerless ship, grows whisper quiet and then falls silent. Nothing exists around you. You are suspended in a timeless, lightless void. All sensation, even the feeling of your own body, begins to drift away until you are left with only oblivion. Then comes the rush of light. Blazing like fire, you are struck blind by the brilliance of it. Like 100 suns exploding before you, radiance overwhelms you, and in its unrelenting intensity, the pain of sight becomes too much for you, and everything plunges back into blackness. Sounds come next. First, your thoughts echo in your mind. Fear, perhaps, of the danger you and your companions are in. Or is it hatred of whatever force holds you captive? No, it must be contempt at your own vulnerability and helplessness that roars through your consciousness. When breathing begins again, it is the ragged gasp of terror that you hear. They grow louder and louder, deafening in their extremes of silence and sheer screams. Screams? Yes, that is what you hear. Your own voice screaming into an endless night that offers only silence in return. Taste, smell, touch, all come in a chaotic whirl after you finally stop shrieking. Or do you? Perhaps you have become deaf as well as blind. It is impossible to tell. You taste the bitter tang of blood in your mouth, your own from where your screams have torn your throat raw from within. You smell the sweat of desperation. No hope. No hope, never any hope. Death awaits you, and you can feel its claws at your back. That is what you feel, the looming specter of your own mortality. So brief the years, so swift the end as it comes. One by one, the images shatter in your mind. Fragments of destruction, images of explosions, and the final moments of the dying again and again force themselves into your mind. You cannot escape them, and you cannot look away. You are surrounded, trapped in a nightmare of darkness and unforgiving light. The end comes. The captive captures, and the shadow sheds its own light in the burning light of brief lives. So much fear, so much empty hatred. Is darkness all that is? Is fear and hatred all that exists? Can anything else be in the depths of an ancient night? A mind teeters on the brink of an abyss. One side plummets into the growing darkness. The other side beckons a new beginning, and the promise of something beyond the cycle of rage. As the moments pass, the darkness seems brighter than the light, and the promises grow too quiet to hear. Perhaps they are merely lies, deceptions of a desperate need. A mind teeters on the abyss. Is it yours? After this vision, if you will, please give me a wisdom saving throw.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
So do I.
Just Valen. Lan. All right, so 12 there from Valen.
Sorry.
It's all right. Valen, now roll a d4, please.
Oh god.
All right.
This is how he dies.
So
Well, that may have been a damage roll, so one might have been good.
you have this vision or whatever it was, this experience, and there's a slight return of coming out of that, and then you immediately fall unconscious.
Thump. Like 0 HP or just unconscious?
Just unconscious.
What the hell happened to the kid?
I gently nudge Valen with my boot.
So a minute goes by, and Valen, you come out of your state. So you're just unconscious for a minute after this strange and intense vision and experience.
Oh, jeez. I need to sit down.
You all right?
No. No. And he's just gonna take the co-pilot seat or whatever's closest. Just kind of sit there trying to make sense of it all for the next minute or two. Just taking in steady, deep breaths. Just trying to put the pieces together.
All right. Dak still in the pilot seat. Krellin, Dak, and Land, give me perception checks, please. All right. So, Lan, you right after this darkness happens and it rushes over your guys' starship. You just you're focused outside, looking out the window of the cockpit here, and as sight essentially returns, you see that the darkness, it looks like it now moves over to some other ships that are nearby. And it looks like it's just going towards some of these other ships.
I turn to Dak and I say, how are the engines going? Have you made any new progress here? I think we need to get the hell out. Get the hell out. Get the hell out.
I'm assuming power still no power on anything.
So you think that you might be able to reroute some power, but yeah, it's definitely hasn't come back on.
Okay.
As you continue to look out into the darkness here, a light catches your notice. There's this blaze of energy that tears out of one of the other ships that's trapped out in the distance. And it looks like the spread of some heavy blaster fire has punched holes through the ship's landing door and trickles out into space like dying stars. As you watch, wondering what's going on here, seeing this energy come from inside. Moments later, the vacuum of space rips open the pierced door and pulls the bay's contents out, including several writhing figures, into the blackness of space. As you watch them, none of them seem to try and grab the edges of the starship, the landing ramp, or anything, try to get back to the ship. Instead, it seems that they welcome this oblivion. As this shadow, Sargasso, quickly obscures the dying from your sight, it seems that the oblivion welcomes them as well.
Does Valen notice any of this?
Yeah, you would see this. If you guys all looking out there would see this.
So like the shadow just enveloped them after spewing them out?
So the shadow went afterwards.
Okay. I see.
What? I don't know. Your mom, maybe.
I'll wait for him to get it back.
So you all right, there you go. There you go.
Stepped away for
Sorry.
a second.
You didn't
Oh,
mute, by
okay.
the way.
What's that?
So you didn't mute.
Oh, I didn't.
I appreciated it.
Mom, the meatloaf.
Right.
Mom! Like Valen's gonna turn to the rest of them and said, "It's the darkness. It wanted me. I don't know if it wanted me to kill myself or what, but it wanted me to essentially embrace death.
Well, the airlock's right
resistance.
there.
I'm not gonna do it. But it wanted me to. It was a very strong urge. It was difficult to resist. I don't even know that I can resist it. But that's what it wanted. At least as far as I can tell. I'm not good with these forced visions. They don't usually come to someone like me. But I don't know what this was. This thing. Would I say it almost feels like a hunger? Or would I not know anything more than that?
I could say yeah. You might interpret that way.
Okay. It felt almost hungry. Like it wanted me to kill myself. Like it needed me to kill myself, if that makes sense. I know the Force is mysterious to those who don't wield it, but I don't know what this was. This wasn't the Force, at least not as I understand it. He'll just kind of almost sit in shame, with his head down a little bit.
Lan goes over and puts a hand on Valen's shoulder and says, now, once again, I must tell you, this is another upside of using a slug blaster as your weapon. You don't get visions from it. There's a danger of using your weapon, but I trust you to wield it. And you must trust yourself to wield it.
Well, philosophy lessons from Lan.
Thank you.
You see that quote is displayed on his wrist pad. He went to some like quotes website right before.
That you recalled because you have no power right now to your wrist pad, so.
Right.
This was one you previously researched.
He keeps it in like a
that's off the dome.
Yeah, there you go.
that one's off the dome, but he read it off of the Star Wars equivalent of a fortune cookie, I think.
Daily inspiration quotes on your space Pinterest feed.
Yeah, whatever the HoloNet Pinterest is.
Well, thank you for that. I just need another moment. You're just gonna kind of try to shrug off the feeling, the creepy crawly feeling.
Okay.
So
trying to recap everything. We've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen now. So we saw people basically get pulled out of their ship through space and into some shadowy oblivion, right? That's what happened to the last group of people we saw?
yes, but it looked as though... So you saw blaster fire from inside. So it seemed that potentially, especially with the way that the people that came out, they made no attempt, or it didn't look like they were, it looked like they were purposely trying to get out of the ship. Like if you were about to be thrown from a ship, regardless if you're able to, you're gonna, react and grab out towards the ship, right? I think that would be a fair assumption that most people would, at least reflexively try to grab back at the ship. Looking at this happen, it looked very much like they were, jumping out of the ship to their doom on purpose.
Is what I said starting to make some sense? Please tell me I'm not the only one that saw that or felt that.
Krellin just like internally thinks that Valen is batshit insane, and he has like his gun like hidden, and he's ready to kill him in an instant if he does anything crazy.
He has another acid flashback.
Just ready to shoot.
I feel like Dak's not too interested in getting sucked out of the ship and pulled into oblivion here. As we're getting, I assume we're continuing to drift closer and closer to that asteroid darkness,
Yes.
right?
Yep. So as you sit here and you guys are all on edge, contemplating everything that's happened and whatnot. An hour passes about since the shadows crawled past the ship, your ship, and it just seems that there's not much hope. That if another shadow comes by, that it won't be the last. You've covered more than half the distance to the black asteroid, and it might not feel like you're moving too fast. You have enough momentum that you'll certainly dash apart on the surface of the asteroid if you make, when you make contact. And really, the confirmation of this comes from seeing it happen already. There's been other ships. You see a small personal shuttle that, from the make of the shuttle, you kind of assume that it was potentially a diplomatic family of Kularin, pulled into the side of the asteroid and just vanished in a flame of white, in a flare of white flame. And there's nothing you can do. Little you can do but watch as another ship drifts closer and closer, eventually to its doom. This bulky transport, this one you watch now, it looms closer and closer for good 5 minutes or so, and any second it's going to collide, and you know what is going to happen. But just as it's about to hit, you see the transport react suddenly. Its maneuvering thrusters all fire on its port side, and the jets of fire turn the ship and bring it parallel to the asteroid's surface. Then you see the glimmer of landing engines touch off, trying to slow its descent. Unfortunately, they sputter out almost as soon as they ignite. The ship's power obviously depleted. The transport cannot slow itself enough to avoid the inevitable. Its momentum continues, and it crashes onto the asteroid and breaks up into a shower of metal and glass.
Well, shit.
Valen's gonna stand up suddenly and just, all right, I gotta regain my composure. Gotta keep my head, no matter what happens. And I'm going to touch Dak on the shoulder. And let me see how long this lasts. I think it's 8. Oh, just a minute. Does Defiance have a timer? Doesn't look
I'm
like
not sure. I think it's just something you would offer.
Yeah, Defiant, you just, as long as you can see.
the person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be more of a reaction to something than I think like offering.
Like having it.
Less
Yes.
like inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could, if a situation comes up where that's needed, you can then offer that. Because it says, yeah, when you're a creature, you can see makes a check, ability check, attack roll, saving throw. You can add it to the roll.
Right.
And so it does say, or actually it says use it before or after. So I mean, really, you can do it post the roll. So if you feel that Dak succeeds anyway, then you don't have to use it at the time. So
Well,
yeah.
all right. Well, I'll retain the Defiant, and I'm going to cast Guidance on myself
Okay.
and see if I can't reach out to Master Cressona and send her just like not a message, but I guess like a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
sensation. It's not quite an image. It's not a message. Just darkness. Like a general trying to play on the Master Padawan relationship here
Right.
as much as is possible.
Like thousands of voices all crying out at once. and suddenly silenced.
Except it's just him crying out.
So,
Yeah.
Just there
me having a
crying in
mask
the
and trying
corner,
to put it
wondering
on.
what's going on. Let's see, I thought there was.
Crown
Dax
will-
just-
oh,
I
You
said,
go.
Dax just thinking, well, if we don't bring this ship back, Rena's gonna really let me have it this time. She was pissed when we just had a few little bit of damage to it. This thing gets destroyed. We're gonna be paying it off for a while.
Not
can't-
entirely
not.
accurate.
We're not going to be
We're
paying it off.
aboard the ship. If this thing doesn't come back, neither do we.
Well, fair enough. I
Speak
can't
for
lose.
yourself, Krillin.
I can't lose another one. Damn it.
Another one?
Colin just like jots down in a notebook, like that Dax not a trustworthy pilot.
That's a story for another time.
Valen, you would have found, along with when you were checking earlier the life support stuff, there are some respirators and whatever on the ship for the crew. So I know Lan is already sporting one, but that is available. So that's something you can point out. But you sit here and you concentrate, you look inward, and you try and reach out through the force to send some sort of contact, or even just a hey, basically an SOS. And you as you begin to send this message, push this out there, that dark vision experience you had kind of seems to flare up quickly, and you take 2 points of psychic damage, and then your attempt kind of just it basically squashes your attempt at trying to reach out.
All right.
Dak, give me a piloting
that-
check, please.
All right.
So as you watched this freighter that it looked like it got some power back, and it attempted this maneuver, you see that they definitely had the right idea. It was a good thought process, but they just they didn't have enough power. Maybe they wasted too much in their moving their thrusters to reposition. If they would have put more to the landing, that could have helped with the maneuvering jets. So
Okay.
you're
Yeah, that's what. Oh, yeah, so that's what I was kind of starting to think. Like, well, not gonna go down without a fight here. Let's see
who's
what
a
maybe we
mechanic
can
on the
divert-
ship?
Well, we don't have one actually.
No mechanics?
we decided that we didn't because we only had 4 people and there's 5 roles.
When does a ship ever break? Who would ever need
Krellin,
that?
have you looked more over the new rules at all? Kind of just the once over.
The PHP update or
The Starship
mean-
stuff?
oh,
Really just that initial glance?
not too much. I sort of
Okay.
just scanned it a
No, that's
couple
fine.
times.
I was just gonna, deem you as kind of the go-to for that, but
Because what Dak was potentially thinking here is if we do have respirators that would allow us to, I guess, survive with life support power reduced, maybe not completely off, or maybe completely off if the respirators work that way. I don't know exactly how they function here, but yeah, I guess reducing all power or diverting all power to landing thrusters would be maybe our best shot at not imploding on this asteroid as we get sucked into it.
right. You do know just from earlier investigations as well that there is a minuscule reserve of power left in some of the engines as well. It's just a matter of getting that, properly rerouted. So yeah. Yep, there is, you do have some of the life support systems, but that, of course, is not just necessarily power. I mean, that's obviously like oxygen and other things that you guys need, so you can't necessarily just take that as power, but, the power to run those systems, of course.
Okay, see, I didn't know if like the respirators had like a built-in hour of oxygen, so you could
Right.
completely divert everything and still have an hour.
Well, there are
without it.
individual respirators that you can utilize. So yes, but it's more the energy. A little bit different systems with the life support. So, but regardless, you know that there is some, and if you can figure out a way to reroute that to the proper engines, then you think that you can, get this figured out and potentially you're coming towards this asteroid basically regardless, and touching down on that feels going to be your best bet here.
So would Dak relay that this is what he's trying to do, like reroute some power?
Yeah, I would say, hey, it may be a long shot, but if we can get enough power diverted to the landing thrusters, we might be able to succeed where that freighter couldn't make it and still hit the asteroid too hard.
You think he can do it?
I can
Well, I
try.
guess my knowledge, maybe with my knowledge of ships, I'm pretty familiar with the 1760s here, and if you know your way around a hydrospanner, we may be able to get this thing figured out. Let's head to the engine room. I assume would be where power systems and engine things would be. I ask out of character, not as Dak, because of course Dak
okay,
knows
I was like,
exactly where it's at.
Dak goes to the gunner
Yes,
room
you
to
would
find
head
the
back to
engine.
the kind of to the engine area, mechanics area, and look that over. And yeah, so this is a technology check. So if your buddy lands around, he might be able to help you out in that department.
Yeah. Land does know his way around a hydrospanner, so let's see how well.
All right, perfect.
All right, so that'll be just enough as you are able to set this up, and you're able to get this power rerouted and flowing in the right spots that will provide Dak what he needs to fire this on, get the right landing thrusters to go, and as long as you hopefully time it properly, you'll come down and might still not be a soft landing, but it'll be a landing as opposed to something more unfortunate.
All right, I guess I'll relay to the rest of the group. When I call out for it, make sure everybody's buckled in here. This may not be a trademark soft landing from Dak.
Are they
Sounds
ever?
good.
When they need to be.
Well,
Anyone you walk away from.
I'm gonna do my best, Krellin, don't worry, but I'm working with limited power reserves here.
the odds are very stacked against you. We just watched like 4 ships blow up in the last hour.
Somebody's always got to be the first, right? Why not me?
I'm gonna. Valen is going to give Dak guidance when the moment comes.
All right.
It's only got a minute, I think, duration.
Okay.
So I'm trusting he'll know when to do it.
Yeah.
And Dak's not sure, but he always gets a sense of confidence, like Valen's his lucky charm when he's piloting. Whenever he touches on the shoulder, he just gets, I feel good about this.
Well, let's hope I don't have an acid flashback while you're trying to do it. That won't help.
Everybody get their defiance ready. We'll start passing those out like Halloween candy, and we'll be ready to go.
Sitting behind them, Krellin will like reach into his what are they, trench coat, and pull out a little flask.
It's the scene in Independence Day when they pull out the cigars. Like,
I was getting ready to say, we'll say the exact same thing. It's like, well,
I heard
guess
no
I'll see-
fat lady.
I guess I'll look over at Krell and see that and say, hey, got any more of that?
Yeah, he'll hand it over.
Take a swig from it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'll hand it back.
I love that session 3 we are preparing for potentially the end here. Like, this is great.
Well, I'm just
I mean,
calming my nerves a little bit.
It could
I was
either go really
prepared.
well or really bad.
You never know when you're gonna TPK.
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
true.
preparing since I started making my character,
Yeah, it's a good way to do it, right? Don't get too attached. All right, so you get close and close and closer to this asteroid, and Dak, you get ready, finger on the trigger, ready to just engage these systems and do what you need to do. One quick burst to the maneuvering thrusters to get you turned just enough, and then the rest focusing on the landing thrusters to bring you down as soft as possible. So go ahead and give me a piloting check, and you do have guidance on that, so you can add a D4.
Okay.
All right, 9.
I'll add a D4 for guidance.
Okay,
And
up
I'm
to
gonna add
11.
I'm gonna add my D4 Defiant.
2 more, so we get 13.
13.
All right.
Anybody else got another Defiant they want to throw on here just because?
Sure.
I don't know how high it needs to get to. Another 2. All right, so I get this
All right, 15.
15.
All right, so sitting there, nervous, probably white-knuckled. As the asteroid comes closer, you engage the engines, and you just eyes locked on your power meters. You see that the power just dwindle away appallingly fast. The ship banks just enough to turn the way you think you need, and then immediately you throw it over to the braking engines to slow your fall. At first, there's no effect, and the low energy hazards blaze across all the consoles. And then, just as the engines cut out and go dead, your descent drops enough for the stabilizers in your vessel's landing struts to seemingly absorb the shock of impact. It's certainly not the softest landing you've ever had, but it is a landing. The whole ship shudders violently, but when it does come to, a standstill, you look around and everyone, there is no damage to anyone. Somehow, miraculously, you've made it down safely. The immediate danger has passed.
I was
I want to clap Dak on the back. We call that the Corellian two-step where I'm from.
kind of Dak will kind of just
Good
take
job.
take a deep breath and kind of wipe the sweat off, and then kind of look back at Crown and say, "Hey, right, told you."
Sort of just like goes, "You didn't kill us."
Yes. The day's not over yet, right? All
That's
right, so now
ominous.
now we're landed on the Death asteroid, right?
You are, yes.
Okay.
Now we TPK on foot.
Do we have actual EVA suits
No.
or just rebreathers?
Yep, just a breather that will.
Well, that's not gonna
I mean,
work.
it will work outside. Yeah, it's enough that it allows you.
We're not. But what
Is
about
there-
the radiation?
Does the asteroid have some degree of atmosphere, so like we don't like freeze to death like Guardians of the Galaxy style out in space?
Right.
I think
Yeah,
we
let
just
me
gotta
see.
be fast.
Your blood would boil first, but that's out of character.
Where? Yeah, whatever. Call them EVA suits. Sounds.
Okay.
I think
okay,
they
so
just.
we do have protection. We do have protection.
Yeah,
from
yeah. There's
space.
something in there.
okay.
Yeah, it might have been that.
Alright.
I just thought there was something else that was.
Yeah, I was just thinking the rebreathers they wore in Empire Strikes
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
The
gonna die.
Minox.
Yeah.
Well, we can breathe.
Yeah,
and
when,
we...
so
your
earlier
eyeball
when this
gets
was going
boiled.
on, I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I have like 3,000 credits or whatever. I'm buying an, one of those suits when we get, assuming we survive.
I'm gonna buy a jetpack and get out and push next time.
There you go.
Not a bad idea.
All right. So you're landed on this asteroid right now. Still, power's gone, darkness. And then as you sit there, you see this dark shadow in the distance coming towards the ship. It returns, moving swiftly. It comes over the ship and again over your minds. You all feel it again now, this cold alien presence that seems to bore through you and freeze your souls as it moves past. But this time, instead of passing over the ship and disappearing, the shadows inside, they seem to pool together near the exit doors and form into this black vortex of lightlessness, just solid black over here. This mental barrage assaults your senses as you see this form, the shape form. There's glimpses of high vaulted ceilings, massive spans of metal, dark places underground, and shadows deep enough for legends to hide. The smell of a tomb assails you. Then the images fade, leaving behind only a splitting headache. The shadow remains there behind, and it doesn't seem dormant. The shape swirling a little bit narrows along its sides, and it's almost a column of darkness now, and it's taken roughly a humanoid shape. There's no face or limbs or anything. It's just this caricature of a figure, but nothing more. Definitely some form of some kind. The shape lingers at the docking ramp and moves straight through it and out onto the surface of the asteroid beyond. A frozen after image remains on the metal doorway. This is frost where it passed through, steaming as it freezes the air around it. Beyond, the shape begins to move away from the ship and around a rocky outcropping. As it does, it passes over the scattered wreckage of those less fortunate than you. The shadow does not even seem to notice the carnage as it fades from sight.
Well,
And we actually saw that, or that was like things we saw like in our head. That part?
It seemed real. It seemed
Okay.
physical in there. Yes.
now do I sound crazy?
So I would just like to say that Krellin is a very observant person, but like this wasn't like a vision, right? This was like something we saw.
Right. Because you saw the shadow even the first time. The shadow came through, and it, like, I don't know. Smoke is probably the worst. Not the worst, but a bad way to. But just imagine like this cloud that come over. But yeah, it's just
But so this
completely
time
void
around,
of light.
I like to imagine that Krellin didn't notice it, despite being a very observant person, because he spent this whole time trying to figure out how to get the EVA suit, I think he said it was called,
Yeah.
on, right? Like that's fine. But then how does he fit his like top hat, detective hat and his overcoat and his boots? Like he's trying to he's gotta
Bring
keep the
everything
look
along.
going.
Yeah.
What's the point of being a detective if you don't look like it?
You just put the hat out on the top of it,
Yeah.
so it's on the outside,
like
and it
cleaner.
magically stays.
Yeah. Super glue.
Well, Val, this got any ideas? You seem to be more in tune with what's going on here than any of us.
I'm not sure it's a good idea, but maybe we should follow it. I don't see where else we can go out here, do I? Actually, I don't know that. Do we see anything that looks like a entrance or an alcove of some kind? Or did it look like where it went might be the...
Yeah. So if you give me a perception check.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
So
there
as
you
you kind of go through and you get to a spot where you can look outside and kind of follow the path of the shadow. I guess we'll say that there's we'll say there's a window on the back end of the ship as well that you can see out, right? Not unheard of. So this goes through like the exit ramp door, and then you look through some of the side windows here to see out the back. And the shadow does walk towards this outcropping and whatnot. And you do see that, you kind of follow the path it traveled, and it does look like it disappears towards a dark cavern or something. It looks like there's an outcropping that it has gone into.
So then I'll relay what I saw or see to them and kind of tell them that's the path it followed. Now I don't know what else to do, and that's why I suggest following it. But there's nothing else out here.
Yeah, so
What
well.
what does it hurt?
Yeah, so we used up the rest of our power that we had in reserve to make this landing. All this power's got to be going somewhere. Maybe if we can figure out a way to turn off something. Dak's probably just thinking, hey, this is like a mechanical kind of thing. I don't believe, this magical things out here. If there's some sort of device that's draining the power from the ships, we can turn that thing off. That might let us get out of here. So not doing any good, I guess. Still staying on the ship. So I guess let's suit up and head out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
I'll go take one of the suits and start putting it on.
Yep. Dak will go put on a suit and kind of just stare at Krellin as he's figuring out what to do with his hat and everything else.
All right, so you guys suit up and in the EVA suits, and you head towards the back of the starship, and you're able to, there's a manual release on this, luckily, and you're able to drop the landing ramp, and you look out, and it's just still this darkness, and you can kind of see the shadow. There is another shadow that kind of envelops the asteroid, and it's odd. That does block out some of this light past the starlight. But you see, once you get out here, you see a little bit better that outcropping that Valen had pointed out.
You said the shadow figure went that way?
That's what it looked like. But if that's the darkness that I sensed, I can't imagine it wants us to do anything good, or it wants to do anything good to us. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, if the thing wanted to kill us, it could have killed us back on the ship, I suppose.
Well, there are things worse than death. And some people yearn for that sort of thrill, I guess you would call it. Death isn't what excites them, it's the fear, the anger that often comes and surrounds death. So it's entirely possible that whatever this is toying with us. I don't know, but the impression it gave me when it swam in my mind was it wasn't one of benevolence. Let's just put it that way. It wanted me to think that killing myself was like almost right in a way. And it wanted me to be angry at it and afraid. He's like, I can't honestly say without shame that I wasn't afraid, and I'm not still afraid, but I think that's where we need to go. You guys need to know what we're heading into. I don't know what it is, but I know that way is probably our best bet. I'll go first if it comforts you.
I think this is my specialty. I'll lead the way. You guys follow at least a few feet behind.
I have no problem with that.
Be my guest.
Lead the way.
Yeah.
I'll be right behind Krellin.
And then as
Oh.
Krellin begins to walk away, he sort of turns around and he puts a hand on Valen's shoulder and he says, "Look, if things don't work out," and he sort of waves his pistol, "okay?" And then he Turns back and keeps walking.
Okay.
So,
That's his way of comforting you.
Just
He'll make it quick.
thanks. Gee, thanks.
Krellin is the first to step outside of the ship into the coldness of space and heading towards this outcropping that you see a little bit out from your ship. There, you get to the entrance of this, and you see a dark cavern that seems to go into the asteroid. The entrance here, it seems pretty vast, and a little bit you can kind of see inside, and seems to have once had some sort of a metal covering here. But all that remains of the entrance are the ribs of the ancient steel that jut up out of the stone around you. In the far depths, you can just make out a little bit of a light, but it's not constant. It's a pulsing, rhythmic light that you see at a very far distance.
That metal on the door, do we recognize it?
Give me an intelligence check, or insight check. I guess I'll let you do an insight check.
Oh.
All
Come
right.
on, Valen. He wants to guide himself. Just, I know you can do better. I know you can do better. Take
So
a real deep look.
a little bit of it strikes you, and more so that the visions that you had on the ship when the ship was landed, you definitely get some deja vu from the other asteroid.
This looks familiar. That's all I'll say to the rest of them.
Let's not blow this one up. At least while we're on it. And then I'll continue on in, just keeping my eye out for anything that looks like it might try to kill us, mainly.
Yeah. Lan and Dak, give me piloting checks, please. 8 for Lan, 10 for Dak. All right. So, you guys are, maybe a little distracted and whatnot, but Dak, you see this blinking light, and it takes you a while, but eventually, your senses kind of come to you and say, actually, that kind of seems like a distress signal, the flashing of a distress signal.
All right. Star Wars Morse code.
Interesting.
Yeah, so relay that to the rest of the group. I say, don't hold me to it, but I think that looks like it might be a distress signal flashing from that light source there ahead.
Well, seems like the only thing of note, so might as well go towards it. Worst case scenario, we die.
Well, if there's light, might mean there's some sort of power. So let's check it out.
Is there any sort of a, like are we in a sealed environment yet?
No,
Or would we
not yet.
be
You're
able to
still
tell?
closer to the entrance. I mean, you guys are, not rushing in, but you're working your way in slowly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So you're moving in, and no, it's not yet a sealed environment yet. You do get to a point that you notice that the inside of the tunnel here, the cavern, it gets to a point where it slopes downward pretty sharply, and you'll have to climb down from your position. So if you're looking to move on farther.
Anybody got rope?
Lan hands you a coil of fiber cord.
All right. see if we can tie it off somewhere.
Well, I have a grappling hook. We could like hook that somewhere near the top, try to make it easier. Because that has 50 feet of rope on it.
Sounds good to me. But I
to
wonder how
give us-
far down it goes. We might need more. Hope not.
All right. Well, I'll go down first, I suppose.
All right. So you're gonna dig your grappling hook in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
Tie the
just
rope
try
on. Yeah. Give me. Let's do a sleight of hand check. See how well you can get this thing seated somewhere. All
Oh.
right, nat 20, 28, nice. So you've got, you see, there's just like a little fissure here in the asteroid that just works out. You get that hook in there, and that baby is pretty solid. You've got that. I think a grappling hook comes with rope as well, anyway, right?
Yeah, it has like 50 feet.
Yeah.
attached
Okay.
to it.
So you get that, and you begin rappelling down the rope, and so that's holds you pretty well, and then you slide down. So it's not definitely not a vertical slope, but it's still steep enough that you definitely need the assistance of the rope. But you get down, and you get you get a good 2/3 of the rope way down, and then you come to a level flat spot down below.
All
And then
right.
it looks like it kind of goes towards and opens up into another area.
I'll just call back, motioning for them to head down one at a time, ideally.
And Valen's just gonna run and jump and grab the rope and slide down.
Valen dies.
Valen, give me an acrobatics check.
And he dies.
All right, so you rush forward and you grab the rope and slide down, and take 1 point from a rope burn, as you just you have to catch yourself and
Sorry, I got excited.
rush down. So, Dak and Lan, you guys make your way down as well, and you get down to the bottom of this tunnel, this cave here, and this cavern, it ends. You go a little bit forward, and then it seems that it ends in this massive dome-shaped room, and there's this vaulted ceiling, and the light that you saw earlier is definitely more in view now, and it's coming from a distress beacon, as Dak had assumed, from a wrecked ship near the center of this of the metal plated floor. So this is definitely a manufactured room here. Unlike the other ships you have seen die out here, this one does not look like it has crashed. Instead, all of the catastrophic damage done to the vessel seems to have been purposely inflicted. The beacon flashes, it begins to get dimmer and dimmer, and eventually it fades out completely. You've just come to the end of the life of it. With a spray of sparks, the emergency bulbs along its length, short out, seem to burst. In the sudden light, there's of all these, this burst of light from the ship as it dies, you do see a few other things around the room. There are 4 bodies sprawled around the chamber. One of them is at the base of the ship's landing ramp. 2 others huddled together next to a landing strut, and the 4th is next to a circular doorway on one side of the vault, similar to those in the other asteroid with that iris-style doorway. That door, you notice, it looks like it's welded shut, and the body has what looks like to be a welded laser welding device clutched in its lifeless hand.
Okay. I'm gonna cautiously walk over, keeping my eye out, but I want to go investigate the body and see if I can find, I guess, like a cause of death, if there's like a outward one at least.
Specifically, was there a specific body you were going after? You've got basically 3 by the ship, 1 by the door.
Probably just whichever one's closest to me near the ship.
Okay. So you go up to, we'll say the 2 that are next to the landing strut. That's kind of close, coming to the front of the ship and then whatnot. So, give me an investigation check.
All right.
Very nice. So, you definitely do see some wounds that cover the bodies. So you definitely see, a source of their death. But that's, if you want to further investigate
Medicine?
with any knowledge of medicine, you
Yeah.
can do that.
Would like to. Oh,
Oh,
they tripped and fell.
so you begin kind of, you could see these wounds and whatnot, and you're looking them over, and just for some reason, it's taken you a while to, for some reason, figure this out. Valen, if you notice this, also a member of the medical community, you go over and help out if you want.
Do I notice this?
I mean, you would see him
I
going over
imagine
there
so.
and investigating, so
Yeah.
I guess that's just up to you.
Find
but-
anything, Carlin?
Dead people.
What'd they die from?
Something.
I'm gonna go to the body he didn't investigate. Go take a look at that one.
All right, give me a medicine check. All right. So, is you can clearly see these wounds, and as you look them over, you can tell that they were definitely self-inflicted.
Well, they're self-inflicted wounds. That's a bit in line with everything else we've seen in this area of the system so far. So I'm going to take a look and see, like, do I see the weapons anywhere?
No, you do not see. Let's see what that it said. We'll just say that yeah, they've got some blasters that are laying near them.
Okay.
Krellin, in addition to when you were investigating the bodies initially, you did come across some identification on those 2 bodies.
Okay.
And these 2 here, as you look that over, you see that the identification labels them as flight crew for the ship, and the ship is the MCT Nerglot.
Right. I will relay that to the group.
The other thing, and this is something you guys would all notice, and you would all recognize this species. So these are a little bit shorter humanoid figures. They're a pig-like looking species known as Carites, which are they're not native to Kularin, but most of them in the Kularin system, at least, are here working with the Metatheran cartel. So if you see a
Okay.
Carite, you're going to think Metatheran cartel.
I was getting ready to ask what MCT stands for, but now I think I know. Metacaran Cartel Transport?
Never heard of them.
Yeah, no.
I'm probably sure I've heard something. Don't actually know. Is that a species heresy made? Carites?
I don't know if they made it or not. Maybe.
Take a look.
Find out. But So you've looked over these two bodies next to the landing strut. There is one body at the landing ramp, and then you have the other body over by the door at the edge of this cavern.
So, well, looks like the one over by the door wanted to keep something out. So he welded the door shut, or attempted to. Can we tell? Is the door actually welded shut?
Yes. So it is. Give me an investigation check over there.
Todd, their ship is here, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Is it like destroyed or is it mostly intact?
It's in rough shape. It's very rough shape. You see that there's no power left on it, and as you kind of look over, a lot of the systems seem destroyed. And one thing you guys noticed is that it didn't crash here, but something went after the ship. Dak, as you go over there, looking over this door, it seems that the Karite here, was in the process of welding this thing shut, and then seemingly turned the welder on himself. And so the doors could probably be pried open.
Okay.
It wasn't completely done. You find identification on this figure over here as well, and this person seems to be a little more specific than the other two, just simply crew of the ship. You find Nim Strulg. Post that in here. Type. And you see that Nim is labeled as is a executive of Metatheran Cartel in charge of resource investigation.
Okay.
You guys can all give me. Let's see. Krellin and Lan, you guys can give me lore checks. Krellin and Lan.
All right.
10 for Krellin. 9 for Lan. All right. So it seems to ting a little bit in your head. If assumingly Dak kind of mentions this, and it seems that this title, Krellin, you'd definitely be familiar with this. Probably just kind of making yourself known amongst the different groups in Kalaran. But that is somebody who oversees mining and excavation operations.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do we find, so like besides, I guess, an identification card in the welder, is there anything else, I guess, on the body of this guy? I would probably
Nothing
take
else
the
of note. Nope.
Okay. I would take the identification card, I guess, just to have it.
Yeah, the laser that he had, it's dead. There's no power. Anything else you guys see, like the weapons they had, they're dead.
And you said the landing ramp was down on the ship. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. I think Dak would like to go over, I guess, check out the ship and see what's on it, if anything.
Yeah, so head over there and give me an investigation check over there.
Would I be able to join him aboard the ship?
Yeah.
While they're doing that, do I see any other entrance or tunnel or
As you look
alcove?
around, no, there is just the one that they were going after.
Okay.
The landing ramp, it's just trashed here in addition with the ship, and you can see that there's just some equipment here that they had. Don't make much sense of any of it. Some of it kind of fits with Nim, being part of the excavation and whatnot. Some equipment that might be related to that, but again, everything, power-wise is dead, and a lot of it has damage as well to that.
So, but there's nothing like notable aborted or anything.
Other than
Just
that,
kind of
no. Nope.
Okay. Well, Dak, what now?
Well, that's a very good question. The doors that they welded shut, we could potentially pry those open, but I'm sure they were tried to weld them shut for a reason.
I would assume so. Seems like a weird thing to unintentionally do.
I was trying to say for an ominous reason potentially. And that's the only, I guess, other thing in this whole chamber. I mean, it's just the ship and
Mhm.
then this welded shut door.
Yep.
Okay. Ask Valen, you getting any feelings from being in here?
I'm afraid to reach out. The last time I did, it shut me down pretty hard. There was a bit of a feedback. I can try again. I'm gonna focus, like just beyond that door and down a ways and see if we sense anything or maybe something down further.
Mhm.
Like, is there any sort of a pull, like something calling us deeper, or do I sense a presence of some kind, or something I might consider a presence?
Give me a perception check. All right, 21. Yeah, so as you kind of reach out a little bit, yes, you get a little bit of a sense that, this shadowy figure and whatnot, there's these feelings and things, it kind of go in that direction a little bit.
So I'll relay that to the group. I'll be like, well, whatever it is, it's down there. You want me to cut the door open? I think this thing's still got some juice.
Go for it.
Lan, I'm not doing this if we're not all in agreement.
Lan just looks at you and says, "Kid, take out your damn laser sword and cut this thing open."
Okay. And I'm gonna start cutting through the part of the door they didn't, or the part of the door they did weld.
Okay. All right. So you thrust that in and begin cutting it open enough so that it eventually gets to a point where it releases enough of the latches to just retract and opens up, and is the other side of it. You see what's essentially a circular tunnel that leads into the darkness beyond. There are sections of smooth walls along it that glow with this eerie light, and but not every stone panel that you see is illuminated. Some of them are dark and seem lifeless. The dim radiance, however, is enough to show that the corridor turns off to the left in the distance. There's no other features or doorways evident.
Okay, Valen's gonna deactivate the saber and just kind of motion the rest of them along and start cautiously moving forward down that hallway.
I will follow.
All right. So, as you guys step in, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and see where this goes. So, be back in a
Get this
Follow-
TPK back on the road.
few mementos. Yeah.
Follow the scary shadow man.
Yep. All right. See you guys in a few.
All right.
Yeah. Just gems for some reason.
All right. Everybody back?
Valen has precious gems on him.
Well, semi-precious. Okay, maybe overstated that.
Yeah, don't say that around our characters.
But if
So-
somebody has a low enough perception and I have a high enough persuasion, they are precious gems.
I mean, I have a 19 passive. What?
I
That
wouldn't
low?
fool you.
Lucky for you, he doesn't care that much about money.
You'd probably be in on the scam, so it's fine. I think we're good.
If there's a purpose to the scam, sure.
Oh, Todd,
Morality is relative.
I had meant to change one of the languages on the personal translator, and I don't think I did it in the little RP downtime thing we did. So, but I had wanted to change Ithores to Ithores, whatever, to Twi'leki. Because we saw that blue bitch last time, and I want to know what she says.
All right, just reading over a couple things. Okay. So, you guys are in the, you've entered into this new section of the cave, this cavern, and there is some light here that does illuminate your path, but you see it's spotty in some areas and whatnot, and seemingly there's no other really main passages. It just other than the one that seems to, lead forward in the distance and curve off to the left.
So I'm just gonna keep walking down it, kind of slowly, methodically. Just kind of keeping an eye out for something that breaks up the monotony of the hallway. Like if there's something that seems to stick out, like a door or a panel, something other than the lights and the rock.
Right. Yeah, give me a perception check as you kind of wander around.
Okay.
All right. So you're paying pretty good attention here, and you see that for the most part nothing really stands out. It's pretty repetitive and whatnot. You have this eerie lighting in moments, and then some moments it gets a little darker and whatnot and goes on.
I'm just gonna keep moving forward then.
I shall follow.
As we're continuing down the hallway, do we start to feel any sensations like murder and death sound like a great idea?
So you guys continue on, and as Dak, as you begin to have these thoughts and concerns about what's going on, all of a sudden just darkness envelops you. So it's similar darkness that had come over you on your ship and whatnot, seems to show up. And Krellin, you and Lan each, you just all of a sudden this intense feeling comes over you. You just all of a sudden have the strongest need to investigate and explore the personal possessions of each other. Krellin, you turn to Lan and you just say, Lan, what do you have on you? And then vice versa and whatnot. Just being completely enamored by what you want, what each other has.
All right, I just reach for like if he has a bag, I'm just reaching for it then.
Okay, you grab it and it's just full of business cards. overflowing with these business cards.
Guys,
forgot that.
this really the best time for this? We got more pressing
Dak, as
things
you
here.
are watching these two, you're not sure what's going on, and then Valen, all of a sudden, you just you turn to Dak, and you just have this urge to talk about your childhood with Dak, and just all of a sudden, you're just gonna start asking you start talking to Dak and asking him about his childhood.
So I was born a poor Karelian child, way back. What about you? Where are you from? My mom and dad didn't have food to feed me. That's why I got this limp.
Trying to think of the name of the city. Drawing a blank. It's really the time, kid. We got. I appreciate the information, but
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know anything about you. Might as well start at the beginning, childhood. Everybody's got a childhood, even Jedi.
well, I grew up on the streets of what's that? What's the name of that place, Todd? I'm drawing a blank now. Tola Bequa? Is that the name of it?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yes, Tola Bequa. Yes, I grew up on the streets of Tola Bequa.
Oh, how was that?
Not the greatest. Had to sort of learn to live on the streets, fight, fend for myself. It's kind of what led me to the life I'm in currently.
What was your first word as a
Krellin,
kid?
what is Lan finding as he goes through your possessions?
Through mine. So if you're going through my possessions, it's just a random assortment of it's basically like if you're going through his trench coat, there's just 100 different pockets, and it's basically a Batman tool belt. You're finding the most random shit in there. Anything, everything. You pull out gambling decks, thieves' tools, recording devices, comics, basically just anything. Toothbrushes. He just random tools.
Lan is going through your stuff, but he's almost just admiring your stuff. He's just like, "This is nice stuff you got here. This is nice." I like all the. He's more interested really in your coat with the pockets. He's like, "I like all these pockets," and he just kind of seems lost in a reverie as he's sort of admiring your coat and all the stuff in all your many pockets.
Krellin's just looking over your holo recorder after he finds it, and he hands you his. He's like, here.
Yeah. Lan is like, yeah, sure, whatever. He's way more interested in your identical holo recorder.
So as you guys you kind of get to the end of this investigation of each other's possessions, meanwhile Valen is just kind of drilling Dak over there and whatnot, and all of a sudden just this feeling just kind of fades. Suddenly the darkness disappears, and you just you kind of all come out of it a little bit a little confused about what just happened.
Your coat sucks. I don't
these videos are horrific. Take this back. And he just hands you the thing and sort of bundles up his coat and turns and just begins walking.
I'm sorry.
Heads off.
Sorry if I annoyed you, Dak. I don't know why I cared so much about your childhood. Sorry.
Nope, not a problem at all.
I'm gonna look at Lan and Krellin. What the hell were you two doing?
Krellin's already just leaving. He's 30 feet away. Power walking.
Lan looks kind of ashamed at all of the business cards that are presumably just out.
They're just all over the ground.
He looks to you, Valen, and he's like, I got a bulk deal.
I don't mind. Your credits, man. Do they work? The business cards, do they work?
Lan looks at you and he just kind of shrugs. He says, I mean, I'm still hunting, so I guess.
Yeah, whatever works. Valen's gonna keep walking on. Try to shrug that off. A little embarrassed that he spilled so much of the beans of his past.
You continue on, walking down the corridor, just trying to, following the source of the light as it goes on and whatnot. And a little ways on, and again, another, the shadow comes and comes over you again. And the shadow comes over you, and it's that same, also that deafening silence as you experienced on the other asteroid. Like, you guys can't talk with each other for a second. But it passes, and out of this one, Dak, you immediately are just thrown back to, growing up on the streets in Taliabiqua. Just memories and visions of doing what you can to survive as you grew up, and then working for people, and you're just the feeling of be working for someone else, something that you hate so much, is just the most intense feeling you've ever felt at this moment in time right now. It just is just something that the fear of that is so intense right now. Lan, you the fear that strikes up in you is just this thought of never completing basically what brought you to Krularan, and being trapped here forever without completing your goal, and never going to get back home or wherever you wanted to go for so long. It just wells up in you that this is your life now. Valen, fear comes over you of disappointing your your teachers and whatnot, Master Lanius. Fear of being expelled from the academy, just fear of maybe turning to the dark side of the Force, something super intense. And Krellin, for you, it's just I would say your fear is your quest for knowledge and whatnot, and just not being able to complete that, and finding out that was all for naught. It was just a fruitless endeavor. You just spent your life trying to learn things, and it was, you just, the fear that overcomes you is that was all pointless. It just rushes over each of you intensely, and then eventually it does fade, and you guys come out of it, still here in this cavern.
Is Valen able to make some sense of what this might be doing to us? Like, is he able to recognize like a pattern? Like every time it comes over, it tends to cause these emotions? Is he putting anything together?
I'd say very loosely, essentially just that
Okay.
something is happening to you. So your character, Valen, you are definitely aware that this stuff is happening to you involuntarily as well.
Okay.
Also, though, they feel completely real and genuine when they do.
Okay. But you can tell that it's being spurned, or Valen can tell that it's being spurned on by this.
To a degree, I'd say, yes.
Okay. So it's not wholly out of character for him to, like, I think he kind of probably wants to have that little reassurance and cast guidance on himself. Just in the event that he might have to overcome it, he needs to have some sort of reassurance
Okay.
that he can make it through the whatever ordeal is coming at him.
Right.
Can't do anything for the rest of the group, but if I'm useless to myself, I'm useless to the group too. So
Right.
yeah, he'll cast guidance on himself and just
Okay.
try to keep it up. It's only got a minute timer, I think, on it. So
Yeah.
He wants to just keep repeating the Jedi mantra to himself.
All
Whatever
right.
he's got to do to keep that.
So after
Put that pep in
this,
his step.
yeah, after this this episode, if you will, passes and you all come out of this very intense and real scene or feeling, you just you can continue on your way. You know, you're back in the tunnel, not really sure what happened.
Okay. Valen's gonna take just like a quick second, turn to everyone, like, are we good to move on? Look around to each one of them. Make sure. Are we good?
Yeah,
We
Dak
all
would just
collect
kind of
ourselves.
Yeah.
nod his head, not maybe fully recovered from what just happened, and kind of like still in shock, I guess, to go through all that. Just kind of nods his head. Yeah, keep moving
Like,
on.
there's no shame. There's no shame at all if you need to take a moment. Better safe than sorry. Like,
Lan is thinking of his lost ship, the Appaloosa Mare, and thinking, "I'll never get to fly the skies freely again." And just a single tear rolls down his cheek, but he proceeds on.
aw.
It seems that as you guys are continuing on, you know, this shadow visits you again, and Lan, it seems to feed on that emotion, and as you are caught in this moment of that, you know, kind of sadness and whatnot, all of a sudden it flips on its head, and things go differently. You are on your ship, you're in the cockpit, you're flying it as you used to, and you know, you're traveling the galaxy doing what you always used to love, and you're with that ship, and it's as if everything is back to, you know, normal. Valen, Krellin, and Dak, you are kind of on the, you know, edges of these visions for Lan. You're seeing things through Lan's eyes essentially, so you kind of join in the feelings of all of a sudden this, you know, enjoyment and maybe this hope that Lan, you will, you know, be back with your ship one day, as you guys all feel this, and it, you know, lifts you guys up a little bit and whatnot as you're experiencing this.
That is disconcerting. Assuming you two, he says, looking at Dak and Valen, also just experienced that.
Like, weren't we always on this ship? Is that not? Kind of look around.
As you are watching through these visions and Lan, as you are, you know, taking this in, you know, feeling the warmth and solace of this vision here and whatnot, all of a sudden things just go completely wrong. Your ship is taken from you. It's destroyed. It's just ripped from your life, and you are back into, you know, basically this situation you are now. It's kind of, you know, in a different way, not the same situation of how you lost your ship, but you're back to where you are, and you know, just that hope that was there is completely ripped away, and the rest of you feel this. You share a little bit in these feelings of loss now. It's not as quite real to you three, but to Lan, this is you know, very genuine.
Oof, it's heavy.
And Dak will be able to empathize, knowing what it's like to have a ship taken away.
Like, I feel your loss, friend.
Lan is just overwhelmed, and speechless.
The feeling and the vision, you know, does completely fade. You guys are back in the tunnel, continuing on and moving forward.
I'll just keep leading the way and keeping my eyes out for anything.
So you continue on. Lan, keeping your eyes out, and as another shadow passes, and you just all of a sudden stop and turn around, going the other way.
Like,
Do we
Lan,
notice it?
Dak, you notice this. There's something confusing about that. You're not sure what's going on here.
So who turned around the other way?
Len.
Oh, okay. So Lan's just
Krellin did.
oh
Oh, I
Krellin.
did.
So Krellin's just up front leading the way, and then he just turns around and starts walking back towards us.
Valen's up front leading the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. But Krellin did turn around and start walking the
I
other
just
direction.
like you're like right behind me. I'm just like,
No, that was Lan. Lan was the one that did that.
you, Todd. I see what you're doing. All right.
And then
Psychological warfare.
So who did Dax see turn around?
Yeah, that's
the vision fades and this confusion wipes away from your mind, and you just, this cloudiness that just filled your brain is just not knowing what was going on in the tunnel here. And
I'm gonna need a couple drinks when we get back after this shit.
I'll hand the flask. I'll pass the flask backwards.
that was pretty good, Todd.
It was.
Can't drink through my space helmet. Tink tink, son of a bitch.
Oh, keep it for
Any-
later. I have 4 more.
You need an emergency induction port.
there you go. Yeah.
Corian designed.
Get like one of those like drinking apps where they have like the cans on the side, but for
Little straw, yeah. Perfect.
So
all right. Well,
you,
Valen doesn't
we
recognize
attempt
any of
to,
this.
what's that?
Valen doesn't see any of this. He's just happy-go-lucky. Keep going.
Yeah, you guys kind of experience this confusion, but then have all come out of it, and now you kind of keep going and begin to you can move along and whatnot, moving along the way, and once again darkness passes over you and whatnot, and then all of a sudden there are some loose debris and whatnot just flies up and crashes into the wall. And Valen, you realize that your force abilities are triggering against your will. You feel yourself, you blast out healing around you just randomly. You're
On myself, by chance?
it just goes out. So
Okay.
yeah, you can take that, say that it applies to yourself, but like it just
Alright,
goes
that's
out.
what I was going for.
A heal
Heal
goes
those
off.
points back.
You take your saber out, and it just like you throw it through the force. It goes wide, and you begin. Then you use force pull, and you bring it back to you, and you turn and Krellin Krellin, Dak, and Lan, give me.
I know what's coming next.
Whatever the new one was. Basically, force disarm
It's
as
It's updated.
comes out, and he reaches, and you all of a sudden feel your weapons begin to pull away from you. I think you need strength or dexterity saving throw, your guys' choice.
Okay.
And if you guys have these weapons, if you guys are like holding these weapons, you'd have advantage on those.
I've been holding my little pistol.
Nice. I think everyone's
I've
going to
been
be
ready
good there.
to-
So yeah. Okay.
I've been ready to shoot anyone.
Yeah, my DC is 14, so.
Oh,
Uh,
Dax just made it.
all right, and then let's see. Okay, so Dak and Krellin, please give me a dexterity saving throw. Very nice. Okay. So, all this is going on. It just seems that Valen, you are just experiencing yourself just, expel all of your abilities and whatnot. And at one point, turbulence goes off, and Dak and Krellin, you guys just you're able to get a sense of this, and you're able to get out of the way as this blast of force energy does just push out from Valen towards you guys, and you're just kind of like, what the hell, dude? And a few more things fire off and whatnot, and eventually, it seems that things calm down and return to normal. And you come out of it, and you just realize that you've just expelled all this energy and all these abilities, basically involuntarily.
Oh, what was that? Sorry, I don't know what came over me.
Krellin leans over at Dak and he says, "Do I shoot him now?"
Not yet. So far, he hasn't done any damage.
Fair enough.
Like, what happened? What happened? Exactly.
You started doing random voodoo, and
What's
apparently
voodoo?
you decided to put on a show of force powers there.
Oh. Oh.
Thankfully,
Sorry.
you didn't hurt anyone.
Like, Valen's just kind of get a little introspective, like, oh no. I can't risk hurting these people, not in this environment. And then let's see. I don't think there'll be anything I can. Yeah, he can't really do anything. Yeah, he's just gonna kind of hang his head in shame. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Don't worry about it. This place is doing all sorts of crazy things to all of us. We know you
Yeah.
didn't do it willingly.
Next time, though, you got a stun setting on that blaster? Try that first.
I can aim for your kneecaps.
No, I need those. And I'm pretty sure if you shoot the suit, that's it. The force doesn't protect against vacuum. So
Well, I don't know about that.
I
I've
have
seen
duct
otherwise. I've seen otherwise.
Duct tape fixes everything.
it's like either way. Let's keep going. Unless
So
you all
you
disagree.
continue on, and again, another shadow passes over you, and Dak, you turn to kind of your most known companion in the group, Lan, and this anger arises up in you, and you just Lan, you're part of the reason that I'm stuck around here. I'm never gonna find my ship because you are completely convinced that that Lan is just completely unstable, and you're just angered at him, and you just have the urge to deal with that. And Lan, you return the emotion. You two just become enraged with each other.
No, not Dak.
What's your problem, Lan? Why are your eyes so red?
Krellin and Valen, you guys would definitely notice this change.
I can't stand that shade of
Hey,
blue you are.
Hey. I'm gonna
Just
go.
like that Twilight that stole my ship.
I'm gonna go grab Dak and just kind of gently pull him away from Lan.
You
Put
friends
myself-
with her? Huh? You in it together?
Oh yeah, well I know it was you who was behind that Sabak game that I lost. I know it. You're a shifty one.
Todd, does Krellin notice that he described Krellin?
Oh shit.
I don't know if that was intentional, but
No, isn't he?
He's a
isn't he-
Duros.
He's Duros.
oh,
he's, yeah,
is he Duros? Is he a blue man too?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah. That's what,
Did you not know
Both
this?
blue.
Oh. So, well, then in that case, you just see Krellin kind of have like reaction. Okay, I see how it is.
I thought he was a Duros. Maybe
Yeah,
I totally
no,
imagined that.
Oh yeah, I just forgot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Blue man group over here.
Valen, you're going over there. You said.
I'm just trying to keep myself interposed between Dak and Lan a bit, like by Dak's side, but not behind him.
Mhm.
Like just at his side, but just kind of like hold on. Not really doing anything, but
So Dak and Lan, as Valen comes up, you guys basically just he's getting in the way, and basically like this doesn't concern you. Just mind your own business. Get out of the way.
Get out of here, you Jedi! Think you're so special? Your Force powers.
well, I mean, maybe, but part of what makes us special is not letting two people who are supposed to be friends attack each other without reason.
Friends, friends don't help other people steal friends' ships like this guy.
Oh yeah, well, friends don't set up their friends to be in debt for 6 whole years.
That's right, because I'm not your friend, Lan. You're the worst sabacc play I've ever seen. I've made so many credits off you, and I always have a nice, expensive drink with your credits when we're through.
Oh, you know why they call it the Idiot's Array, don't you?
And those drinks always taste so good. Because of
Lan-
your...
Lan gets incensed and shoves you.
Krellin's counting his bullets.
Yeah, so you have gotten to a point that you also feel that the opposite person is jeopardizing this mission, and you need to deal with that, and they're gonna essentially cause all of your deaths. So Lan, yeah, you shove out at Dak. Dak, reaction to that?
Dak, since he can do these things, and I guess he doesn't usually like to use these abilities, but since he's so angry, he is just going to kind of a little force push back onto Dan, or not Dan, Lan.
Oh. All right. Lan does not take this kindly and shoves back harder.
Is it force push? Is that so that's gonna go off? Is there you got to do something for that, right? Valen, do you know? Is that
Here, I will.
I basically just move
strength saving throw,
things.
Lan?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so you're good there. So you feel Dak push out and against you, and
Yeah, I would actually like to grapple
okay,
if I can.
yep, go for it. And then Dak, you can do an acrobatics or athletics check. I'd imagine you'd get out of this.
Time for some kung fu.
All right, so Lan comes in for a grapple, and you just slip out of that and avoid that.
Keep your hands off me, Lan.
Keep your whatever you just did to me off me.
So, okay, at this point, Krellin just temporarily puts his gun away, still ready to shoot them at any moment. But he pulls out his good old electro baton, and he just walks up and he shocks Dak in the back, trying to, not like hitting him to damage him, but just kind of make him stop. And then, depending how that goes, he's gonna go for the other one.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll be successful on anything other than a nat 1. So Give me an attack roll, and then really we want to see the damage.
Aw. Oh, man, I was hoping he'd like try to shock me. Like it wouldn't work. I just turn around like, what are you doing?
Well, I think he does need to make a saving throw of what is it?
Or is it
Say
14?
Dexterity. Yeah, dexterity 14. Damn it.
All right.
I feel this little shock and I turn. You son of a
So as
gonna
Krellin, as you come
interject.
up and you hit Dak, and you take this, and you kind of shrug off the shock of the shock stick, and then all of a sudden this feeling goes away from both of you, Dak and Lan, and all of a sudden you just stand there, and the physical pain is still there from the shock stick, but you guys are just like, you know, that there's a little bit of a linger that just happened, but you're completely out of it and it's gone.
Do we like, so those of us that were affected, Lan and I, do we remember what happened during the time we were affected, or we just kind of like out of it and we're like, why do I feel pain?
No, you do remember it, yeah, Dak, and you do
Okay.
take those 7 points of damage from the shock stick.
Just gonna turn and look at Krellin.
Like, oh, I'm gonna
Was-
put a
was-
hand on.
Is that really necessary?
I'm gonna put a hand on Dak's shoulder,
It was fun.
and I'm gonna look at him and be like, "Yeah, it was necessary. You two were acting like jackasses."
Oh, you could have shocked him.
He was next, but you were closer.
Guess I'm gonna just look at Dan, or look at, I keep want to call him Dan. Look at Lan. Just be like, hey,
Dan and Lack.
yeah. Look at Lan. Be like, hey, sorry, buddy. I don't know what's going on. This is a crazy place, but you know I didn't mean any of that stuff that happened, right?
Lan is silent for like an uncomfortable length of time before he smiles and he goes, I can't stay mad at you, Dak. Plus, I mean, I know I lost that game fair and square. I mean, well, I know you weren't involved. I don't know if it was fair.
And I know you didn't help her steal my ship.
Yeah, you know how much I hate them Twi'leks.
Like, whoa.
Everyone
a
in
little
this campaign just
uncomfortable with
hates
all the
blue
space
people.
racism.
Specifically
Yeah.
against blue people.
I'm imagining that Duros and Twi'leks have like a, you know, they're both blue-skinned aliens that seem to be everywhere in the galaxy. There's probably some rivalry there.
I feel like Twi'leks have a lot more than just blue, though.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
a few
think blue's
skin
kind of
tones.
like the typical
Maybe
portrayal.
the common, yeah.
That's true. I guess there's the purple. What other colors do they come in?
Green for
Blue,
sure.
purple?
Hera.
Green,
Like
like
more like browns.
pinkish colors, yeah. Yellow.
Red.
Kind of like. Mhm.
Oh, there's more.
All
I didn't know there were
colors.
yellow Twi'leks.
They're a rainbow, basically.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So as you come out of this, you know, subjectively, but maybe one of the worst scenes you've gone through. You know, this rush of emotions that have crossed all of you at, you know, in different ways, but with equal intensity for each of you. You come out of it, and you know, as you've continued on traveling through this cavern, the hallway eventually leads towards to an end of the hallway, and there's a door here. The that it gets to that leads into another corridor.
Is the door open or closed?
It looks closed.
Okay. Well,
Sorry,
I will.
you can't see beyond the door, but you see a door in front of you.
Okay.
You get there, yeah.
I will approach it.
Well,
Okay.
This has been going so well so far. Let's keep going.
This
So-
is only the second room.
As you begin to step forward, Krellin, shadows rise up
Of course.
in the corridor in front of you, and immediately you see something that just strikes you, as the form is very familiar. There's no color or features, but the dark shapes are a twisted mockery of yourself. And three others pop up, and in that same reflection of your counterparts, one resembling Dak, one resembling Lan, and one resembling Valen. They all raise these tenebrous black weapons, similar to those that you would carry yourselves, and all of a sudden rush towards you. Just the sounds of incoming murder and death echoing around you as they begin to open fire.
Okay. Before they charge in, I'd probably say, well, at least I finally get to shoot you guys today.
And that's where we'll end tonight. I'm glad I let that quote happen, because I think that's even a better spot to end. So
I was wondering if that was the end or not.
That was great.
all right, so yes, good stuff. Yeah, we'll pick back up with this weird encounter in the cavern here, and then proceed on your further exploration, of this. And I assume you guys will be sick of asteroids by the end of this, huh?
Right, yeah. Every time we come out to this asteroid belt, we dump some crazy
Yeah.
shit.
That's not been the best experience.
The not episode, the story arc, I guess, the trilogy here is called Broken Orbits, so
Mm.
that's gonna kind of tell
I
you
wonder
something.
what it's referencing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but all right, good stuff, guys. Good session.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
some
good
good
session.
good RP in there for sure.
Yeah.
So
I knew
everyone,
shit was up when
everyone,
started seeing
everyone have an inspiration. So you guys come into next week with an inspiration for that.
All
Good
right.
stuff there. So I'll try and hand them out frequently. So definitely don't be too conservative with them. So.
Yeah, I kept looking at my powers, and then all of a sudden things were opening and closing. I went, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I kept quiet. I know I didn't want to ruin it, but
Oh yeah, I forgot when other people are in your sheet.
Yeah, when I am.
yeah.
Moving around.
I was like, what? I thought I closed that. Uh-oh.
So yeah, just as an aside, so there's some new Starship stuff that's kind of being worked on, very early development stages, but I've said that potentially as a playtest we'd bring them into our game. I know Jawa's looked at it a little bit, and then Indy, I think you looked at. There's a pretty good summary page that I'm probably gonna get all of it and bring it over, but anyway,
I can link that. I have it here.
okay.
I don't know.
You don't
It's
have?
allowed.
Do you have a full document, or is it
I have the entire conversion. That
all in one though?
Oh, not in a single document, but I have the
Okay.
like all the chapters.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to I'll create a channel that's just for that, and then you can put it all in
Sure.
there, so it's in one place.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of slowly work through that and see. I think there's some pretty good initial changes. So, and then I'm not sure really. Like I'm at the mercy of the adventures when I read through them, and if there's space combat. So as it comes up, and maybe I'll throw some in there to work on this. But just as a heads up that we're gonna kind of maybe doing a if anything you guys know of the Starship system, there will be a little bit of changes. Hopefully for the better, though. I think some of the initial stuff looked pretty good, though. So
Alright.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Nice.
skimmed through it a little bit and it looked like some good things.
our session 0, I had picked up 23 credits, and I meant to spread them out between all of us. 6 each, but Valen was going to take 5, just because.
Oh, from those Trandoshans or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
Krellin would pass. He's
All
okay.
right.
in Oh yeah, I think I put. Oh, that stuff. Yeah. So if you want to, I might add a post as well in like the session notes. That's some like a group loot as well. If you guys want to do that. So, so if you would, I do have the party loot one actually. So like, Balin, if you just went in there and said, puts X credits into party loot, and then I'll just update that.
Okay. Yeah, I think
You know
that's
what I
a lot
mean?
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
So just make a post, and if you guys want to add something to the group or whatever, just make a post in the session notes channel, and then I'll just say I'll update it, and then we'll maintain like one post, and then go from there. So, but,
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
all right, guys, cool, good stuff, good session. We'll see you in a week.
Right on. Catch you
So
guys
Alright.
later.
changes.
See you
Is
guys
it-
next time.
All
This
right.
isn't
Have a good
pirate
week.
stuff.
Later.
Later.